This is going to be a very unusual retro unboxing. There really aren't a lot of printers sitting around in their original boxes that have never been opened. People don't buy things to just not use them, generally. Unless they're free. This is one of those cases. Well, pseudo-free. This printer was actually purchased in 2004 with a Macintosh. I believe it was an iMac, because I know that was one of the most or it could have been an eMac too. And then it was, I believe, I don't even know who bought it. I found it at work, and I was charged with disposing of it. So somebody bought this, sent in the rebate coupon, thus getting it for free. So how this works is, you buy a Mac. Let's say we bought this. Apple would send us, as part of the transaction, they would advertise it with a free printer. And they would, we would send in the rebate coupon, we get a check, and hopefully we needed that printer, but in this case that individual did not need the printer. This has been sitting at work since '04. So nobody's used it, and I don't know why. I don't know why it was never used. It was just sitting on a shelf, and it just got forgotten about. Generally, we don't really use inkjet printers at work, but here we are. When I worked in retail in 2003, 4, and 5, and I think I finally quit retail in '06. The Epson Stylus C86 was a very popular model back in those days. It was a very cheap printer. It retailed for around $100. As a matter of fact, there's a price tag on this one for $100. There it is, $99.95. The ink cost a fortune. So people wouldn't keep these around for very long. They'd probably run 2 or 3 cartridges through it and throw it away. Wasn't particularly fast, but 22 pages per minute isn't too bad for black, and 12 color is not terrible. This is, I believe, when they started using the Durabright name on their inks. It includes photo paper pack, 20 sheets, and photo series software. And ink. Of course, there is a set of ink that goes with this. I didn't like selling the Epsons because the customers were generally unhappy with them, because they would usually clog very quickly. These printers aren't known for long life, especially the earlier styluses, because the sealing mechanisms that would prevent the heads from drying out didn't really work that well. So unless you used them once a month, they would be junk. I still can't explain why this has never been used. I don't know. I don't know why that happened. But anyway, it was found on a shelf, completely forgotten about for years, and we're gonna Indiana Jones the hell out of this thing. We're gonna go where no man has ever gone before. Are we ready? So to begin our retro unboxing, we're going to gently cut the now cracking tape that was holding this box shut for nearly 11 years. Stupid. Trying to be gentle and theatrical at the same time. Ta-da. Yeah, smells old. It's been sitting forever. Hey, at least Epson is still in business. Lexmark didn't make it out so well. Lexmark was another very popular printer company. People only bought them because they were dirt cheap. And, yeah, you see how that worked out. So I'm going to take this apart piece by piece. We got our cartridges. These are brand new old stock cartridges. TO441, 2, 3, and 4. Never used. And now the Grand Visois. I don't know why I said Visois. I made up a word. I had to say something. And it had to sound French. I don't know why. like in its packaging. This printer is older than dirt. 2004, I was 20 years old. This printer is so old it actually has a parallel connection on it. Yeah. You heard me right. Look at this thing. Do they even still use the Stylus name? No, I don't think they do. I don't think they do at all. I think that name has been retired. They're now using names like Work Center and it's the one I have upstairs. They're using alphanumeric names like XP600. My very first printer, I think I mentioned this earlier, was an Epson Stylus 440. It was the first inkjet printer I ever owned, and I bought it myself with babysitting money. I had to babysit my little sister to buy that sucker. Alright. I don't think Apple still does the free printer promotion where you basically buy a new Mac and you get, you know, $100 towards a printer or something like that. I think they're actually they've stopped that. Yeah, typical for the Stylus. It's got a fold-down tray. The Stylus, the older Epson inkjets were all of them were top feeders. And that was one of the design flaws, because the top feeders generally didn't last. If they weren't covered on a regular basis, dust would get stuck or lodge or fall into the compartment, and I'm sorry, into the sheet feeder, and it would basically coat the rollers in dust. Not a very good thing. I'm gonna get some paper. Here's the back view. We've got a built-in power supply. This is actually one of the reasons I liked Epson's. They didn't have that ridiculous sized brick that the HPs and I believe Canon's used. They had all the power supply workings internal to the printer. This one does support USB and parallel, which is kind of nice. So I've got a USB cable. And notice how the printer didn't come with a USB cable. For some reason they do now. And I'm not sure why. Because one of the biggest sellers for a computer store, or any place selling printers, was USB cables. And we would sell them with every printer. It was like it was an easy gimme for the sales staff. I mean, if they had to get their numbers up, here's a $20 USB cable. Have a nice day. But now the printer companies are now including them. Every printer I buy now seems to have one with it, which is shocking because now people don't really need them. Way to go. Actually, I'm going to plug that in after. So we're going to be using our G4 tie book as our test bed for this one. I'm going to run it off the battery because I can. And we're going to install the software first, I believe. Now, this software was designed for OS 10 10.1 or later. And I'm pretty sure it'll run on, what is this thing, on 10.4, so it should be fine. Let's go ahead and power the printer up and get the cartridges installed. It says it's out of paper. So out of the box, we have problems. Never used. You saw it firsthand. It's supposed to, let me put the ink in. One of the reasons I'm doing this demonstration is to prove or disprove cartridge expiration dates. See, there's a reason I'm doing this, and that's the reason. Because cartridges are allegedly supposed to expire after, 2 years. Is it true? Well, I don't know. If any printer is going to have issues with cartridges that have sat around for a while, it'll be an Epson, because they've always been the most sensitive and the most prone to clogging permanently. Gotta lock those suckers in, huh? You can hear the, you can hear the, just drinking it right up. I can actually smell the solvent in the ink right now. Okay, so now we have ink. Got to hold it down. There we go. Let's get the software installed. You hear that pump going? It's now going to suck all the ink out of the cartridges in its initial purge cycle. Or prime cycle, not purge. Priming. Let's get our software installed. Listen to that quality. I've always actually thought of Epsons as being superior to the HPs as far as their engines go. And the technology seems to be a little more advanced than HPs of the same, age. But for some reason, the HPs are like old dogs. They don't really seem to die, and they always do what they're supposed to do. The Epsons seem to have the most problems, at least in my experience. But then again, there are outliers. I mean, I have like 1 or 2 Epsons that are from dead back. Okay, we're back alive again. So we're using our original install software from 2004. And for some reason I've got a blinking light here. Let's turn it back on again. These buttons are rubber coated, which is interesting. It's a nice touch. What's even more interesting is that the rubber hasn't dissolved. Okay, we've got our driver installed. Printer's powered on. It's now going to ask me to register, which I don't think I need to do. Although, wouldn't that be funny if I could register it for full warranty coverage? Huh. That would be something. I'm going to plug the printer in. See if it gets picked up by the print manager. This is back in the days when we had to add them manually. Stylus C86. Yes, I would love to install that. Thank you. Okay. See if we can do a test page. I'm not familiar with this particular control panel. There's no option to print a test page either. Well, it's the option's there, but it won't let me do it. Let's see. We'll do a nozzle check first. See what it looks like. This is where I typically run into problems with Epson inkjets. The nozzle patterns almost always show block nozzles. So we'll see how this one works. I have high hopes. It's now doing a purge and prime. I think Epson was actually sued in a class action lawsuit for wasting ink. I remember hearing about that at some point. Their printers were designed to basically throw away ink. But at the same, on the other side of that token, that purge process was actually what kept the printhead from clogging if the printer was regularly power cycled. So kind of a catch-22. See how it happens. We have a nozzle check pattern, and what do we got? Actually, perfect. No clogged nozzles, and the print quality is amazeballs. Alright, let's see what we can do next. I want to print a photo. So there's no need to clean it, no need to align it, everything looks good. Let's print a photo. I wonder if it'll read it. Probably not. Yeah, I'm not feeling too optimistic. It read it! Yay! Alright, let's print out one of these photos. Let's see, which one do we want to print? And I'm going to use real photo paper. Okay. This is actually genuine Epson photo paper that I use in my Epson printer upstairs. See what you can do. And we're going to rotate the paper. This is a really nice photo. This is actually me standing looking out from the west approach of the Hoosac Tunnel and the Berkshires, the western Massachusetts. And it's one of my favorite photos. And I want to make sure I get it in the best quality I can. So I'm going to put it in high quality mode. I don't care if it uses up all the cartridges. I want it to be beautiful. Glossy photo paper. There we go. Print. It was a free printer, so hey, if I get a nice picture out of it, hey. So it's in ultra slow mode. So let's see what she can do. But this is what the photo looks like on a matte display. It just has the right combination of fog. Now, what I didn't know when I took this picture is that about a mile behind me, inside the tunnel, is an approaching train. And that smoke is actually diesel exhaust. Pretty cool, huh? While it's printing, I'll watch a little bit of television. Why not? I should mention that this thing is actually running off those batteries, even still. 20 years old, roughly 20-year-old batteries. Energizer for the win. If only I could get reception. Actually, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. It's plugged in. So let's unplug it. Now it's running on 20-year-old batteries. And the printer churns away. Wow. Okay, this ink is not compatible with this paper. I'll tell you how I know in a second. For comparative analysis, I'm printing the image on a modern Epson printer. This is a circa 2013 XP600, using the exact same paper and similar settings. Now this printer features one additional cartridge. It's a photo gray cartridge, which was not available on the printer that we just saw downstairs. This isn't a total waste because I actually want a frameable copy of this photo for my house. So this isn't really a waste at all. The other one I printed out earlier, a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago now actually, is sitting in my cubicle at work. It's actually hung up there. The first photo I'm going to show you is actually from this Epson printer, the C86. Now I want to point out that this is one of the reasons why you have to make sure that your ink and photo paper are compatible. This is why you can't use HP photo paper on an Epson printer, because they all have proprietary ink formats, and or formulas, sorry. And those formulas are designed to work in conjunction with whatever coating is on the paper itself. You can see that the black ink kind of went on either a little too thick, or it is just not jiving with the photo paper coating. So what we have here is somewhat of a matte appearance. The actual resolution is very sharp. It's actually quite impressive. The detail is just amazing. The color reproduction is even more surprisingly accurate. I mean, you can still see the fog. You can't really see the individual printing elements, although they are visible when you get really close. Wait till you see this. This is on the XP600, which is already a little over a year old. You can see that the ink did not turn into a matte appearance on the photo paper. So it actually blended in with the glossy coating, or it soaked into it and dyed the coating rather than painted it. The detail is infinitely sharper. The color reproduction is infinitely better. More accurate because this printer also features a photo gray cartridge. We didn't lose the detail on the side of the tunnel walls, where we completely lost it here. But I've got to say, we've come a long way from where we were 11 years ago. But in the same sense, we were pretty far advanced 11 years ago, if you really think about it. I bet with the right photo paper and maybe a few adjustments to the image, maybe lighten it up a little bit, you could probably get a better quality print from the C86. With that having been said, this is obviously getting framed. But I'm going to give this one away to a friend of mine who would definitely appreciate it. So I'm not going to waste this one either. It's going to go to somebody who I know will appreciate it. But when you compare a print like this to a printer made in, say, 1994, there's just no comparison. In 1994, color inkjet technology was extremely crude by comparison, and getting a photographic quality image was unheard of. It wasn't until about maybe 2000, 2001, maybe even later, that inkjet printers were able to produce images of this quality. And this was not an expensive printer. This was a $100 printer made 11 years ago. So that actually does speak volumes for printing technology back then. But my God, where we're at today, there's almost no need for photo processing labs anymore. I mean, this is better than I think what you would get from a. I mean, again, it's actually kind of a religion all its own. I mean, people have their opinions and they're stuck to them. You've got your film guys, just as you have your vinyl record guys, audiophiles, and they swear by their technologies. But my God, for what this print cost me to make, I mean, it really wasn't that expensive when you think about it. Now, the next question you're going to ask is, how much ink did we use? Well, I can't tell you how much ink we used on the Epson because the cartridges weren't brand new. But these ones actually were. We did use a significant amount of black ink and a negligible amount of color, if you're to take the graph for face value. Although I'm sure we wouldn't be able to get more than maybe 3 photos of this size and detail out of this printer. I just don't think it could ever happen. What if we tried that same photo downsized to something a little more manageable? What if we were to use the photo paper that it actually came with, which would have been compatible with the ink technology at the time, and it's going to go to waste otherwise. I think you should give it a try. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do just that. Okay, here we go. Hope I got it set up right. Yep, I think I did. Let's see how this comes out. Okay, so here's what we got. We got a beautiful, beautiful picture. I don't think I selected the right size, but anyway, it came out really nice, actually. I mean, it's actually acceptable. You'll notice that the ink laid down a little better on this paper than it did on that one. If you notice, it's completely matte where it actually has some gloss. So this once again illustrates why the photo paper must be correct for the ink. Now here's one of the more solemn facts. If you wanted to use this printer for photo printing today, now what the hell, I'll give them that one too. If you wanted to use this printer for photo printing today, you probably couldn't, because I doubt anyone still makes photo paper that is compatible with these older Epson Durabright inks. That's one of the solemn facts. You can still buy ink for this model, last I checked, but I don't know why you would, unless you needed a vintage printer for a vintage computer. And on that note, I'm going to shut this all down and hit the hay. Thank you for watching.
Have a good one. And stay tuned. There's more to see later on. As always, at BBISHOPPCM.com.